Fluent and Chill. I'm Anthony K. I'm here as always with my main man, Jermaine. How you doing, man? From Chilltown Hoops.
What's up, brother? What's going on? Football season, basketball season. Yeah.
You know, every week we typically we take a look at the standings.
Mhm.
We talk and we will make our picks for this week. Don't get me wrong, but we look at the standings. We talk about contenders, pretenders, teams. Really, the team, the unit, the collective.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like today it's going to be about certain individuals. And I'm going to run you down a list, and I hope we can get to all of them before we have to start making our team picks, and we will definitely do that. However, here's I think the names that I feel like we have to talk about: Derrick Henry,
Yep.
Jameis Winston,
Mm-hmm.
Odell Beckham, Allen Robinson,
Mm-hmm.
Von Miller, Fletcher Cox,
Mm-hmm.
Desean Watson.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, though, I do want to start with somebody else. Henry Ruggs,
Mm-hmm.
promising young receiver for the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
When you see stories, and I hate starting things off kind of on a negative, but listen,
Right.
I feel like we have to talk about it because maybe someone hears it. Maybe someone heeds the message and is like, maybe I'll do something different. Now, I don't know all the details of
Right.
what transpired that night.
Mm-hmm.
We do know that he was drinking.
Mm-hmm.
We do know that he was double the blood alcohol level and got into a car. He was doing 156 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And
In a residential, by the way.
In a
Not
residential,
on the freeway. Not on the freeway.
in a residential area. Good point. And his passenger were injured. However, person in the other car lost their life.
Mm-hmm.
Too many stories like this, right?
Yep.
And I got to tell you, I was doing a TikTok live at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I saw was Henry Ruggs had been charged with a DUI. And I made a joke, just to be honest, because like DUI, look, not that it's good to get a DUI. However, it happens so often. I'm just like, oh, like, come on, man. Like at this point in at that point in your career, you can afford a driver. If you've been drinking,
with football players.
Yeah.
Particularly with football
Yeah,
players.
you can. Yeah, exactly. So I immediately made a joke about, hey, when you sign your first contract, even if it's a rookie deal, even if it's a minimum, you could get a driver.
Yep.
I get it. You want to go out and have fun? I'm all for that.
Mm-hmm.
Hire a driver, get a driver. So I made a joke about a DUI. By the time I was finished, the rest of the story came out. So when you saw that story, kind of what was your first reaction to it?
Well, when I first saw the story in its entirety, the first thing I'm thinking is he's going to jail. That's the first thing I'm thinking. I'm thinking he's going to jail. And I'm trying to understand exactly what the thought process is. Tone, I'm pretty lenient when it comes to people's transgressions because, we all screw up and we all screw up a lot. We screw up big. But I have a difficult time having empathy for somebody when I know what this could be before it actually transpires. So before I even get into this car, before I even take this sip of vodka, I know if I drink this and get behind the wheel, what this could be. This isn't something that was an accident where I was driving and I was sober and somebody ran in the middle of the street and I hit them and oh my God, no, this isn't that. I knew before I sat down at that table or wherever I was, I started drinking this and I get behind the wheel of a car, this could happen. So if I'm speculating here, he's in the car with a young lady who he was drinking. So they both were drinking and he probably was trying to impress her. And she's like, yo, slow the car down. And he's not listening to her because he's drunk. And the next thing you know, boom, he hits another car. And it's obvious that the other person was gone because, the car in front of him, it immediately imploded. So it was on fire. Now, with that being said, Tone, you also have to remember, too, the programs that they have in the NFL. The NFL is one of the most secure organizations in the world. They have everything for you. So if Tony wants to go out and he's in Cleveland, Tony can call up the NFL office and say, hey, I'm in Cleveland for the night. I was wondering if I can get a security guard because I want to go to it. And they'll provide that for you. they'll have somebody, or you can call up the local police station and go, hey, I got $1,500. You got a detective, or you got
an off duty who can.
And can I do that? You can absolutely do that. Same idea. If I'm going out and I want to hang out and I know I'm going to be drinking, either I got my buddy with me who's the designated driver, or I can call up the NFL hotline. Hey, listen, I'm in Las Vegas tonight. I'm in Los Angeles tonight. I was wondering if I can get a DD for tonight, because I want to go out and hang out and have a good time. It was their off week anyway. Right. But instead, I want to be flashy. I want to show my car, which I can do that, Tone. But I could do that if I got somebody with me. I mean, this is my ride, and I'm sitting in the passenger seat. I'm hanging out. But at that age, man, the thought process is just so quick. Everything there's an attitude of invincibility. That's not going to happen to me. That I'm better than that. I'm bigger than that, until it actually happens, and then now I'm in that position. So this is bad, Tone. This is really bad, and I think he's going to jail.
Yeah. Oh, unfortunately, I think there's no doubt that he is going to go to jail. And that's, listen, from a personal standpoint, obviously we feel bad, and our condolences go out to the family who lost somebody. For him as a person, I know from firsthand experience, having someone in the exact same position in my family, what that does to that person and that family.
Right.
And then, what's going to happen after. And then obviously from the NFL side, from a player and his career, like, not that it's done, but it's tough. Like, if he goes to jail for a year or two, your career is also, so it's the personal, it's the individual, it's the career, like everything's kind of put in jeopardy. If there's any techie people out there, I'm putting this out there, and you can reach out to me directly at anthonyk@sportsfluent.com. Let me know. Let's create an app. Let's create an app for NFL players, because I guarantee you, because you said, they could call the NFL offices, they should have an app.
Right.
They should have an app. I need a bodyguard. Click. This is my location. Click. And I need a driver. Click. That will make, let's make it easier. And let's think about it. Most of these players are what, 22 to 30 years old.
Yep.
They're in that era of, what was the last time? Not you in particular, because I know you and me are around the same. When was the last time a 20-year-old picked up the phone and called you? It's not how the majority.
Probably about 5 years ago was my daughter.
And not including your kids. Right? It's not the world that they live in. So let's make it easily accessible for them.
Yeah.
Education is always going to be a thing, when it's finances, whether it's, decision making, that we know NBA, NFL, NHL, like every sport, every athlete, every entertainer probably needs more of. But let's make those services easily available. Right. So if you're out there, let me know. NFL, if you're listening, steal the idea. I don't care. It's not about me, although I'd like to take it. But it's more about the players. So let's get them the help. That being said, we'll move on to, unfortunately, from that tragic incident to tragedy of a different kind on the field. You and I last week had a conversation about Derrick Henry passing 2,000 yards this season, having one of the greatest seasons, passing LaDainian Tomlinson's touchdown record, having one of the greatest seasons by a running back in NFL history, having this be the kind of, not necessarily the peak, but the moment where, if he continued to be successful over the next couple of years, that put him into that top 5, that Mount Rushmore, that top running back, if he continued into that conversation. And I hope that it wasn't our conversation that jinxed him, if you believe in those things, because the very next game, he's out for the season, or out indefinitely. I guess technically they haven't said out for the season, but let's be real, right? Out indefinitely.
Yeah.
When you saw that, was your mind optimistic about, hey, they were running him into the ground? Like, I think he was on pace to have over 400 carries or something ridiculous. And hey, maybe this is good. He can get some rest and come back next season. Or was it, man, what a season that was just lost because it was going to be historic. At least it was on pace to be.
Well, two things. The first thing I thought was Tennessee is sunk.
Yeah.
They're the top 5 in the league in total offense, second in the league in rushing, and I think the 3rd in the league in red zone offense. And that is largely due to what, Tone?
Yeah, to Henry. There you go.
He's the focal point of their offense. And to have a workhorse back, and you and I both have had this conversation, those guys, Emmitt Smith, Eddie George, Walter Payton, Barry Sanders, that guy that's going to run for you for 10 years, and he's the bell cow. We haven't seen that in a long time.
Few and far between. Yeah.
Yeah. Derrick Henry actually looked like that guy that he's going to run for Tennessee for the next 10, 11 years. And he was going to be the 20, 25 a game, 20, 25 carry a game guy who's going to be their workhorse back. And he's going to eventually get them to where they need to go. So we are in the middle of this season where he's on pace for 2,000 yards and over 30 touchdowns and 2,000 yards for the second consecutive season. So if he could just run, I don't know, maybe 1,200 yards, 1,300 yards over the next 3 seasons, we would have to start having that conversation about him being in the top 10 all time in running backs. He's such a huge part of what they're doing offensively. Him now not being in the offense, now what we have to do, there's a reason why Tennessee is 19th in the league, Tone, in passing. Because they don't throw the ball. And it's not just because Derrick Henry is who Derrick Henry is. I don't know how much faith they have in Ryan Tannehill to throw the football. Even though AJ Brown and Julio are there, I don't know how much confidence they have in Ryan Tannehill. But I'll tell you what, Tone, we're about to find out.
We're about to find out. Because Adrian Peterson, listen, no disrespect to Adrian Peterson, but at this point in his career, he's not Derrick Henry, right? Like, I don't think I'm breaking any news there by saying that. He's not Derrick Henry.
No.
And I'll say this, because someone said, there isn't a running back. There isn't 2 running backs that are out there on the street that can equal Derrick Henry. Because trust me, if there was 1 or even 2 combined, they'd be playing somewhere.
Yeah, that's a fact.
So again, it's no disrespect to Adrian Peterson. The last time he played, he actually really impressed.
Mm-hmm.
And he's phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. Let's be honest. He was available because he's not Derrick Henry.
Correct.
So I'm with you. I think they still, they lead the AFC. They're in first. If they can go 500, that's what, 10 wins, 11 wins. So they're still probably in the playoffs.
Right.
But we're about to see if, Ryan Tannehill in Miami wasn't good. Ryan Tannehill in Miami was not good. Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee, kind of the first couple of years, or the first year surprised us, got the contract. But listen, Derrick Henry was always there for him.
Right.
Now we're really going to see, is this the Ryan Tannehill of Miami? Or is this a different Ryan Tannehill? Maybe we were wrong. Maybe we were wrong about him. We're about to find out.
I won't bring up the Jets coach, and I won't bring up the same coach that was in Miami.
Listen,
I'm not going to bring that up.
Listen, I'm not going to say anything about Gase other than I think he could make Tom Brady look bad. And then this one, look, not on the same level as Derrick Henry in terms of talent, but this one actually hurt me, I think, more than Derrick Henry, because I was, this, I've said this to you since preseason, regular season, off season. I've said I have a special place in my heart for Jameis Winston, and I felt horrible. He got so much slack, for the 30 interception season, and obviously the team wasn't that good, and his pregame warm up, everybody just kind of, and then he makes a decision to sacrifice and sit on the bench behind Drew Brees, heck, behind Taysom Hill, when I was screaming that they should start Winston. Starts off the season, looks good, inconsistent, but looks like, hey, this team might have a shot here. And then he goes down, and that one just, I don't know, that one took the sails out of me a little bit. I didn't like that one, but. This are the Saints. Is there?
Well, first of all, you look at a team in New Orleans. Just so you know, Tone, 3 of the last 4 times they've played Tampa, who was the defending Super Bowl champs, they've held Tampa to 18 points.
Their defense is so underrated. Their defense is so underrated.
Which is kind of ironic, Tone, because if you look at New Orleans defense on paper, they're trash. They're 4th worst in the league. Terrible. So I'm trying to make sense of what it is it's every team.
Got their team. Someone's got their number.
Whatever it is, whether it's the NBA, whether it's baseball, whether it's football, one team just has that other team's number. And I don't know exactly what it is with Tampa, but whenever they see New Orleans, Tom Brady just looks like Thomas Brady. He doesn't actually look like Tom Brady. He just looks like some guy that's playing quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? So
imposter.
So when I think about what New Orleans was doing and how Sean Payton was handling Jameson, and how he was handling Jameis, and how he was opening up the playbook and had the leash on him, not too tight because he was letting them play, and they were getting better. And now for it to go the other way, and for that just to be a setback where mean, what are we in November? So we looking at, I don't think he'll be ready for training camp next year. I doubt it. But if he is, he's going to be brought along really slowly, depending on who even brings him in. And it's a tough situation because I was really looking forward to seeing what they were going to do.
I was really rooting for him. Listen, when I saw Phillip Rivers say, "Hey, if New Orleans calls, I'm listening," I'm like, that's when I knew, yep, that season's over. So now let's get into trade deadline was on Tuesday. There was a name that got traded. Well, there's a couple of names that got traded, but one big one. And so I'm going to start there, but then I want to go through some of the other players who weren't traded, who we thought might be traded. So let's start with the obvious. Von Miller to the Rams. My contention is, one, I don't think they solved their issues, which is the secondary. However, I feel like they know who they're going to face. Right? They know who they're going to face in the playoffs. It's going to be the Packers. It's going to be the Bucks. And how do you beat the Packers and the Bucks? Well, you put pressure and hit and sack Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. We know that's the key to success. How do you do it? Well, you have an intense pass rush. So, hey, it makes sense. Let's get Von Miller. I question why Denver did it. And then someone told me that is free agent. They could have lost him for nothing. So obviously, if he made his intentions clear that I'm not re-signing, okay, then I understand that move because Denver's still in the playoff hunt.
Yes,
so when you see Von Miller and the Rams, do they jump up now to the top of the heap in the NFC for you, or is it, listen, it's still the Bucks conference to lose?
Well, when I look at the Rams, I'm looking at a team that they still are at the top of the NFC. And I don't know if they're the team to beat in the NFC West because the way Arizona handled them. But now with getting Von Miller, who, by the way, Tone, I was hearing whispers that he was washed. And just for the record, over the last, I think it was 4 of the last 5 years, he's had double-digit sacks. In 2 of those 4 years, he's been in the top 5 in the league in sacks. He's on his way to a double-digit sack season this season. So when you put him in with Aaron Donald and you got 2 elite pass rushers, you make it really difficult on the quarterback and you make it really difficult on any team's front four. So when I think about what they're doing, what the Rams did was they pushed all of their chips to the front of the table and they said, we're trying to win it this season. And they have their quarterback. They got rid of Goff. And now they have their not just 1, 2 elite pass rushes. And with Ramsey cutting the field in half, I think that they're going to cause a lot of. And I saw what they did to the Bucks when they came out to Los Angeles. Which, by the way, if we do have a Bucks-Rams playoff, the way the Rams are going, that means they have to come back out to Los Angeles again. So I think that they can handle them again. So I'm not surprised, but I'm impressed with how aggressive the Rams have been, no doubt.
Yeah, listen, I'm sure they looked at shoring up the secondary and said, well, we can't. They probably didn't find anything and said, well, the one way to make your secondary look better is to have a better pass rush because
there you go.
It's funny how when you give a quarterback little time, your secondary all of a sudden starts to look better. And I think you're right. You got Donald, you got Miller and Donald. No one talks about, and I think they should, Leonard Floyd, who's fantastic. You got Ramsey, like you said, cutting off the field. Heck, if all you got to worry about is one corner, one side of the field in the backfield, hey, you're probably doing better than most. So I think, I think they're going to be a team to be reckoned with, obviously, in the NFC. So that was the big name in terms of the biggest name I think that got traded. I want to go through some of the players that. Wait, you wanted to talk about Fletcher Cox, so let's start there. I know that's, and then I'll go through my list. I want to start.
Well, I was thinking about a number of different guys. When I was thinking about Desean Jackson, I was surprised that he didn't get traded, and he finally got. I think he got cut by.
He was released by the Rams, so
I think he was released by the Rams, which I'm surprised he hasn't been picked up yet because we're talking about one of the best, still to this day at 34 years old, one of the better deep threats in the game. I was surprised that he wasn't picked up. But then I think about Fletcher Cox and the interior defender he is, and what he would go for in the trade market. I think you can get a 1 for him. You maybe even get a 1, maybe 2 2s for him. So for Philadelphia, I doubt Philadelphia is going to make the playoffs. And I think that my 49ers, if we could have called them up to ask for Fletcher Cox, I think he could have got a 1 for him. So Fletcher Cox, I was surprised he didn't get moved. Desean Watson, I was surprised that thing didn't happen. I think that's probably it. Those are the guys that I was really surprised about. Oh, ODB.
Yeah, that's the next one. OBJ.
Yeah.
OBJ. Let's talk about Odell Beckham, because I listen, for anyone who follows me on any kind of social media, sports_fluent, or obviously follow Chilltown Hoops as well, will know I've been hashtagging free Odell for maybe a couple of weeks. On this show, I've said to you multiple times, and you've said, there's something up between Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham. There's something there. It's not working. One of them has to go. I forever have said it should be Baker Mayfield that goes, because I think he's the worst quarterback in the NFL. I will continue to beat that drum. So that's not going to happen, however. But so when they didn't trade him, because there were some teams that were interested. So the fact that they didn't trade him, I thought was curious. But then his dad starts posting, a bunch of video clips of him being open and Baker Mayfield not throwing him the ball. Baker, of course, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't see him. I know that's because you're a bad quarterback. That's why you didn't see that he was wide open. And then, yes, I will take a shot every chance I get. And then now it's, well, just, hey, just don't consider him part of this team anymore. He's been excused. Release him then. If you've told the team he's essentially not part of this team anymore, you didn't trade him, release him, let him go. I know they're scared because, if I'm anyone in the AFC North, I'm picking him up, right? If I'm the Ravens, I'm calling up and saying, hey, come play because what he's going to do in the playoffs. If he goes to the Ravens and plays against the Browns, Odell's going to have like 10 catches for 180 yards. He'd do something crazy like that,
Absolutely.
right? Absolutely. So that's why they don't want to release him, because he's going, to Pittsburgh, to the Ravens, to the Bengals even. But I think having him just in limbo, I think is just really unprofessional, but it doesn't surprise me because we're dealing with the Browns.
Yeah, that's just exactly who Cleveland is. And I was wrong about Cleveland before the season started. I was really big on them, and I thought that they were gonna do a lot. I was very impressed with Baker Mayfield coming into this season. And I'm looking at this group, Tone, and I'm looking at the dynamic between him and ODB, man, and it's just not working. All right. So because it's not working, we can move on. But, when my parents get involved, you know this just as well as I do, Tone. Like when you're in high school, your parents get involved in something, you do everything that you can to keep your parents away from anything that you're doing in sports, right?
Yeah.
You don't want them involved, even in college. Now, when you get to the pro level, it's even worse, because now it's a question of being an adult. Like, I can handle this, Dad. I can handle this, Mom. I don't need you involved in this. And it's just a bad look all the way around. Now, was he right in what he showed us? Absolutely he was, because I'm sure there's plenty of times that ODB has come back to the huddle and gone, yo, I'm open. You can get me.
Well, listen, as every wide receiver will attest to this. I played wide receiver, and I'll tell you, I'm always open. Yeah. There could have been 3 guys on me. I'm still open. So I'm sure that happened.
That's probably the case. But he hasn't been the same guy since he left Eli. He hasn't been the same guy. I think that him not just getting with Baker, the trade caught him off guard, and him going to Cleveland, where it was kind of an unstable situation when he first got here. They were building something, and when he was in with the Giants, they were at least a playoff team. So he hasn't been the same since he left there. If you
it's one thing you're going with him. You're playing with a Manning. He's a veteran. He's a Super Bowl champ.
Right.
And then now you go to the Browns. No offense, not a great history. Baker Mayfield, unproven.
Right.
Coaching changes like just galore. I think isn't this like the first coach who's who's probably going to be 2 straight seasons in a really long time.
I was actually surprised when I watched them last Sunday, and I'm watching, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's the same dude from last year that they got on their sideline.
It's Stefanski.
It's Stefanski. That's the same dude. I keep forgetting that. All right, they got the same coach, because they've had a revolving door over the last 5 years.
Oh yeah, 100%. So Odell Beckham, obviously, I think he's still talented. I still think he can help a team.
Yeah.
I hope that, like I said, I hope that they release him. There's another wide receiver, and I can't believe I'm about to say this because he's one of my favorites. He's maybe one of the most underappreciated wide receivers, because I think he's top 10. And when a few weeks ago, I ran you down the list of QBs he's had, I think since even high school, and he's never had a good quarterback. Allen Robinson and Justin Fields haven't seemed to click, which is really, I thought that was going to be, rookie QBs. That's his best friend. is a guy like Allen Robinson. That's your security blanket. You put it out to him, he's going to catch it. They haven't clicked. So I really thought being, on his franchise tag, they're probably not going to do it to him again next year.
Right.
So he's probably going to walk. I thought the Bears were going to trade Allen Robinson and just kind of say, hey, we're going young. And let's be honest, Nagy probably doesn't know how to get Justin Fields to get Allen Robinson the ball. I don't have any faith in that either.
Right.
But I thought, hey, let's trade Robinson again. You can get I think you get a couple good draft picks, at least one, for Allen Robinson. And the fact that he wasn't traded, I think, was a big surprise. Did that surprise you as well?
Yes, it did. It absolutely did. Because I thought I had, before the season started, I had Allen Robinson. I think I had him at 8 as one of the 10 best receivers in the game. I had him at 8. And, his ability to run routes, his ability to run dig routes, his ability to run 9 routes, his ability to just get open. You would think that he would be so much better with a rookie quarterback in Justin Fields, who, this is my security blanket. He's the best wide receiver on the team. So no matter who I have, I've said this to you in the past, Tone, when Tom Brady comes to the line of scrimmage, where's he looking? Where's 87? When 16 would come to the line of scrimmage, where's he looking? Where's number 80? Your quarterback has that one guy. So you would think that Justin Fields has that guy in Robinson, because he's been one of the most productive wide receivers in the game. But for some reason, is it because he's pressing? Is it because he's trying to get him the ball too much? Is it he's not getting
watching the games, it doesn't look like he's pressing and trying to get him the ball too much. It seems like he just has a better chemistry with Mooney.
Yeah.
Right. And I think he feels comfortable throwing to Mooney, and it's unfortunate. Now, who knows what's going on behind the scenes? Like, who knows?
Right.
But that's one that I'd like to, hopefully they figure out a way kind of moving forward the rest of the season, because they're still in the playoff hunt.
Yes, they are.
And they're going to need Allen Robinson to be big. Obviously, they're going to need David Montgomery to come back healthy. There's a couple things they need, but that's definitely one of them that the Bears are going to need. All right. The last one before we get into our picks. So many rumors, so many speculations about Desean Watson. And he's still Texan.
Well, from what I've heard today, they had an agreement, a settlement, and the deal breaker was Desean wanted a non-disclosure agreement from the victims, and they were like, nope. And that was the deal breaker. Otherwise, we would have had a deal. So this thing is lingering, and I don't think that there's going to be a criminal charge. I doubt it, because if it was, then I think that it would have came up already. Yeah, I think it would have came up already. But this is just a bad look, and this is something that the Texans have to get out from under. And Desean Watson has to get out from under this too. And he's going to have to deal with a lot of backlash afterwards. Now, I'm sure that the Miami Dolphins did their due diligence when they explored trading him. What's the possibility that this guy can go to jail? What's the possibility that this could blow back in our faces? Well, they probably didn't like what they saw, which would explain why they passed. I don't think it had anything to do in terms of criminally. I think it was the other stuff that they looked at, because it's obvious, Tony. You said this before. I think Baker Mayfield is the worst quarterback in your eyes. I think Tua is right behind him, if according to you. But with that being said,
that's why I'm surprised that they didn't make the move. Because what they've done with Tua,
So what I'm thinking is they're not going to hold on to Tua, because it doesn't seem like Tua is their guy. I mean, they got out from under Josh. They got out from under Josh Rosen quickly. This is the second year now with Tua, and there doesn't really seem to be a lot of improvement. So, I mean, how much longer do we hold on to Tua? It doesn't look like they're going to hold on to him much longer. So the question is, what exactly is the holdup? I can appreciate what's going on with Desean Watson and the ramifications later on, but is it that bad that you had to say no?
I feel like for me, they painted themselves into a corner where I feel like they had to make the deal. Like if the trade was agreed to in terms of the pieces moving back and forth, because it was so public, because Tua spoke out about it, you're now in a situation where we all know you don't have faith in your quarterback. Yeah. Your quarterback knows that you don't have faith in your quarterback.
Right.
I don't know that you can come back from that. It's not like he's a vet. He's a young quarterback. He's a young quarterback who was highly touted. In fact, if you remember before his injury in college, it was tanking for Tua. Like it was a big thing. Yeah.
going on down here. It was on the news. It was everything. Tank for Tua. For Tua.
So how do you go on the rest of the season knowing that they don't want me here?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I don't want to be here because of that. It's just I don't like the dynamic that they've now created.
Well, Tone, it's not maybe I don't want to be here. In fact, it's I don't want to be here because of that. You've already made it clear. You've already made it clear that you're not going to be moving forward with me. I don't think Tua is the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins in the next year or two. I doubt that very seriously.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens the rest of the season. Now it's time to make our picks.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get my little cheat sheet over here so we could go. We got a Monday nighter that this team all of a sudden becomes, I would assume, the favorite in the AFC South, the Colts.
Yes, sir. Thursday night, no doubt.
So we got the Colts playing the surprising Jets, 2 wins, upset the Bengals. Can they do it again?
No. Even though I'm loving Mike White and Zach Wilson should absolutely be sitting behind him to learn, because Mike White looks like he's been around for a little bit, and it wouldn't hurt Zach Wilson to sit behind somebody and learn. But I think that the Colts handled him.
I'm not going to argue with that one. I think the Colts, if they're smart, one, will learn from the Bengals who didn't take the Jets seriously and lost, that they need to take the Jets seriously.
That's
and
exactly
two, if I'm the Colts, if I'm Carson Wentz, if I'm Frank White, if I'm that defense, I'm like, hey, unfortunate what happened to Derrick Henry, but now not that we didn't have a shot before, we did, but now we have a real shot. Let's go get this. So I think they do that. All right, then we move. We've talked a lot about the Browns and the Bengals. Browns and Bengals.
I think Cincinnati handles them. And I love what Myles Garrett is doing up and with that front four, but I think Cincinnati handles them. After the performance that they had last week against the Jets, I think they handle Cleveland.
Everyone's going to come out and say, oh, the Browns got this one. Look, the Bengals lost to the Jets. They're done. I think you're absolutely right. I think the Bengals come back with a vengeance, and we agree on that one too. Broncos, Cowboys. Dallas is a 10. I normally don't point out point spreads, but some of them 10-point favorite are the Cowboys.
As you know,
and then we don't know. Is it Dak? Do we have confirmation? Is it Dak or the new red rifle Cooper Rush?
Cooper Rush in the house.
What a rush!
I think lightning. I think he caught lightning in a bottle. I think he looked really good, and he gave them some insurance. Losing Von Miller is going to be big for Denver. I think Dallas handles them. I don't think they serve Denver, but I do think that they take care of them.
I'm going to go. I don't want to do this because we're agreeing on every game, but I am going to go Cowboys in a close one as well. So listen, if you're a betting man, I'd take Denver with the points, but in a straight up matchup, I'm going to take the Cowboys. I'm with you. All right. Texans, Dolphins have played a combined 16 games and have a combined 2 wins.
Two of them. Man, break. So I think with what's going on in Miami and the confidence level that they have, and even as bad as their defense is playing, that coach does get something out of these guys. And I do think that they can beat Houston. I think Miami can do it.
I am going to go with Mr. Mills.
All right.
And I'm going to go with the Texans on this one, not just so that we don't pick every game the same, but I don't know. I feel like the Dolphins, look, you're going to get one of two Tuas. You're going to get one that comes out and says, I'll show you, or you're going to get the one that says, I'll show you, which
that's
same words,
right
same words, but very different.
Right.
And I think
worse too.
Yeah, I think that's what you're going to see. So I'm gonna go with the Texans. I guess upsetting, if that could be when you have 2 1-win teams, if you want to call it an upset. All right, Falcons and Saints. What are we going to see from the Saints? Who's their is it Hill? Is Hill going to be the starting quarterback again? Maybe
we don't even know if he's going to play. We have no idea if he's going to play. So, they might be calling up the old folks home to get Bobby Hebert out of retirement. Something might have
Bobby Hebert. Wow.
They might have to call up the old folks home to get Bobby Hebert out of retirement. I think that Atlanta, they come out, and I think that they play well against it. And I've been having such a difficult time with Atlanta because Kyle Pitts was my offensive rookie of the year before the season started. And he's been up and down, which you expect from a rookie, but I think that they can beat the Saints this weekend. Without Jameis, I think that they can beat the Saints and get back to 500.
I think Atlanta's another team.
Get over 500, I'm sorry.
That no one talked about this. And I got to tell you, I'm really surprised. Well, first let me take a pause and say, let me give a shout out to Calvin Ridley. We talked a lot about, in my previous life about mental health, and for him to have that self-awareness to know that he needed to step away for his own mental health. Yeah. I think I applaud that. Good for him. I know there's the old school mentality of, oh, come on, just tough it out and whatever. Listen, man, if you know that you're going to be a distraction to the team or to yourself or whatever, do what you got to do to take care of yourself. So let me give a shout out to Calvin Ridley. And let me also put this out there. So this might be our clip that we can use in our promos, because I think the Atlanta Falcons should have traded Matt Ryan to the Houston Texans for Desean Watson. And here's why I think that.
I'm listening to this.
One, because I think Matt Ryan is kind of coming to the tail end of his career a little bit, but he would be a great veteran stopgap quarterback for a couple of seasons while they find their young guy, and he can help groom them. I think Atlanta is a great place for Desean Watson in this sense. One, listen, Desean Watson is a phenomenal talent. You put him with a dynamic tight end like Kyle Pitts, and once he's better mentally, a young wide receiver in Calvin Ridley, I think you have your core. You just need a running back, but you have your core of young talent that can carry you for the next 10 years.
Yep.
And I think that's the type of player that Houston might have said, hey, Matt Ryan's proven like he can win. Look, maybe not Super Bowl win, but he can get you to the Super Bowl. He's a very, very good veteran quarterback, and they don't know what they're doing at the quarterback position, obviously. Could you get a better quarterback than Matt Ryan right now in this NFL if you're Houston?
I don't. Well,
in a trade for Deshaun Watson.
If you're Houston, I don't think so. But when I thought about Deshaun Watson, my first initial thought was New Orleans. I thought he would be great in New Orleans in that Sean Payton offense.
I agree with you. I think any quarterback in Sean Payton's offense probably does. But they don't have someone of Matt Ryan's caliber to give back.
No, they don't.
And so I was really surprised that Atlanta didn't trade him in the offseason. I thought they were going to move on and go with, when they moved Julio Jones, I thought they were going to like a youth movement.
Right.
I was really surprised.
That would be a great trade, Tone. That wouldn't be a good trade. That would have been a great trade for them. Absolutely.
And because of that, I'm going with the Saints. I think the Saints find a way. I think the Saints find a way to upset the Falcons, or not even upset the Falcons, but to beat the Falcons. So, I'm going with the Saints. I think they're like I said, I think we underestimate their defense. I think Matt Ryan's going to have a tough game. And one of the things they do well is stop the tight end. So let's not look. I don't know the Kyle Pitts.
That's because of their linebackers. They're great.
Exactly. So I think Pitts has a tough time this week. All right, Raiders and Giants. And the reason I let out the sigh is how much can the Raiders go through this season before it's like, listen, you rally around, the whole stuff with Gruden. Now you got this. You got Derek Carr, who maybe if he was a WWE wrestler, I'd be like, you can't put him on the mic. You can't. He can't cut a promo, right? Just stop
him
from talking, or give him. He's the guy that should just give out cliche answers because it feels like he's trying to say the right thing, but he never seems to say the right thing. So let's talk about the game. Right, Raiders and Giants rallying. Do they come back? Do they win one for their teammate? Do they?
I think the Giants are on the doorstep. I think they should have beat Kansas City the week before, and I think that they're going to see the Raiders with that run defense that the Raiders have. Even though Barkley's still not healthy, I think that the Giants with that defense that they have, they held Kansas City with that offense to 17 points. So I was really surprised. I was really impressed with the Giants, and I think that they beat the Raiders this weekend?
You know what I think? I think that I've been telling you this since the preseason. I think the Giants are a terrible team. And I think the Chiefs have become a question mark. And although the Giants played well against Kansas City, I think the Raiders handily take care of the Giants this week.
All right.
And I think the Raiders' offense and defense is better right today. Don't look at the names. Don't look at the names on the roster, because then I lose this argument. The way they're playing, I think the Raiders are playing better offensively and defensively than the Chiefs. I don't think that's a hot take. And so I think they take care of the Giants, because I think the Giants are just, I didn't like the coaching hire. I told you that in the offseason. And I didn't like Daniel Jones. And
I don't think that's a hot take, Tone, because if you look at Kansas City,
I know, that's what I said. I don't think it's
when you look at their group with their quarterback and Mahomes and with Kelsey and with Kareem Hunt. After that, where's the talent? And who's been doing anything for them? You know,
yeah, exactly. Even Mahomes. Mahomes, I think, has more interceptions, or at least close to more interceptions this year than the last 2 or 3 years combined.
He leads the league in interceptions. This is not his most. He leads. Yeah. He's number uno in interceptions. So
there you go. So that's why I got the Raiders. All right, Bill Belichick's going to find a way, isn't he? Patriots and Panthers, both 4-4, but Patriots knocking on that playoff door.
Yes, they are, Tone. They absolutely are. And I hate to say it, but, and I'm going on record here, the Patriots are making the playoffs.
I don't think that's a hot take either.
The Patriots are making the playoffs. I said it. I'm saying it again. The Patriots are making the playoffs. They found their quarterback of the future in Mac Jones. I think he's their guy, and I don't know if this is going to come back to bite me in a year or in 2 years. But what I do know is he looks really good in that offense. He looks really good in that offense.
He does. And it shouldn't be surprising, right?
No, it shouldn't be.
You know, Belichick's friends down there, and I'm not surprised. Listen, the whole thing smells shady to me. The fact that he was even available for the base.
They got a pipeline going on in Alabama.
Yeah,
pipeline.
You're right. Yes. Like Alabama, yes. Surprisingly, he drops to the. Okay, sure. That's
fine. They got a pipeline going on.
All right, so I'm assuming you're taking the Patriots over the Panthers.
I am taking the Patriots over the Panthers. I'm very disappointed in Sam Darnold. Very disappointed in him lately.
We talked so highly about him in the offseason. We thought, hey, and then he started off. We were really impressed. I think he led the league in rushing touchdowns. He was going to be great. Just dropped off a cliff. Let's hope he can get it back. But I'm with you. I got the Panthers as well. So we both got the Patriots, over the Panthers. I can't. Okay, is there? We might just skip this one because I feel we're both going to say the same thing. Bills and Jags. Jags have a shot?
No.
Okay. Blowout, or do they keep it at least competitive?
They smoke Jacksonville.
Okay. I'm with you. I think they're going to make a statement here.
Yeah.
Vikings and Ravens. I don't know what team I'm going to get on with the Vikings from week to week. The one thing I do know, if you ever want to have a good laugh and watch the Vikings go 0-17, just put all their games in prime time with Kirk Cousins as their.
I don't know what the problem is when the lights get brighter with this dude. He just shrinks.
He might not. Maybe he needs sunglasses. He might just.
That can't be the problem because this. Oh, I can't understand it for the life of me with this dude. So when he gets on Monday Night Football, or he gets on Sunday Night Football, or he gets on he has the late game on Fox at 4:30. He just looks like he's never played football before. There's some games when he looks like an all-pro, and there's some games when he looks like, I can't believe this dude is a starting quarterback in the NFL. I can't put my finger on him, but you know what? I'm going with Minnesota this weekend.
Well, it's a 1:00 game. It's a 1:00 game. So you're gonna take the Vikings. I don't know it yet. However, I am gonna work on it, and I promise for next week I will have something, because Scottie Pippen. Don't read his memoirs if you want to have a good laugh. But Scottie Pippen made maybe the best trash talk single line ever, maybe in the history of NBA basketball, when Karl Malone was at the free throw line during the finals, and he said, "No man doesn't deliver on Sundays."
No, he does not.
So then you go back and look. And you find that all of Karl Malone's worst games, and I mean worst games, were on Sundays. And I mean, there's half a dozen of them where you get terrible shooting, tons of turnovers, just losses based on his poor performance, all on Sundays, which makes it even better.
Yep.
We got to find something about the bright lights and,
Something's going on
when the
there,
lights
man.
are on, Cousin goes home. I don't know what we're going to say, but we're going to figure something that incorporates the lights being on in Kirk Cousins.
And he's also one of them quarterbacks, Tone, really quick, where when one thing goes wrong, the floodgates open up. He's not one of those quarterbacks where he can, like, one thing goes wrong and then he'll get it back together. No, he's the kind of quarterback where he'll throw an interception, and if you don't reel him in, he'll throw 3 more.
Now that Derrick Henry is hurt, I'm going with my MVP and winner of this game, the Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens.
Right.
So we'll see how that pans out. Your Chargers, bit of a losing streak. They haven't looked very good.
Mm-hmm.
Your face of the franchise, your future MVP quarterback. I don't think you're wrong, by the way. But the Chargers facing the Eagles, who aren't that good either.
No,
Is this the Chargers get right game?
I do think this is their get right game. Justin Herbert, he's been in a bit of a slump. I think that bye week, I don't know what happened during that bye week, but they came back from that bye week and they haven't looked good at all. But I think this is the week against Philadelphia that they turn it around. They get him and Mike Williams get back on the same page. Him and Keenan Allen get back on the same page, and I think they beat the Eagles.
I agree with you 100%. There's a team up there in Green Bay that, man, we didn't even talk about Aaron Rodgers. We probably should have. I've been immunized. Yeah, we all were as kids, but we all thought you meant you were vaxxed, and he wasn't. And let's be honest, if it's not Aaron Rodgers, he's probably getting fined, suspended. There's a bunch of stuff that happens because he's broken NFL protocol multiple times. And now he's got COVID. Who knows if he spread it to his entire team? We're going to see Jordan Love. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. But you got the Packers and the Chiefs. Listen, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I do love hearing conspiracies. And the first one that came out right away, someone sent it to me because they know I love hearing them. It's the NFL's way of getting the Chiefs into the playoffs. Because when they beat the Packers without Aaron Rodgers, no one's going to, hey, they're missing their wide receivers. They're missing Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, no surprise.
I'm just going to say one thing, Tone, about this game. The pride of Utah State, Jordan Love, is bringing them to a victory. You heard it here first.
Wow. So we're going Packers, sans Aaron Rodgers.
The pride of Utah State is bringing them to a victory.
Is this the beginning of the end? Are we going to see the Jordan Love era start early, and this is how Aaron Rodgers makes his Green Bay Packer exit?
See, no, Tone, we're not going that far. No, we're not. We're not going that far.
Not going that far? Okay. But you do think
the pride of Utah State, baby. Let's go.
I think last week when they were missing kind of all their wide receivers, we saw the blueprint, as I said, AJ Dillon, Aaron Jones, and a little old Randall Cobb to get them the win last week against the, at the time, undefeated Cardinals. I called that one right. So I'm going to go on the other side of this one and say, this is going to be the get right game for the Chiefs. And they squeaked by the Giants. And now against this Packer defense, you're going to see Kelsey, Tyreek Hill, and most importantly, Patrick Mahomes throw it all over the yard on this defense. And I believe the pride of Utah State, we want to go back to Utah after this game. I think he's not going to enjoy
his... You're going to see it, Tone. He's been sitting behind this dude for already almost 2 years now, so you're going to see him.
I think he's not going to like his first true NFL experience. We're going to look back in a few years and be, what was that, welcome to the NFL experience? And he goes, when the Chiefs beat me by 40 on my first start. That's what we're going to see this week from the Chiefs. Let's get them. Come on, Kansas City. Let's do it. Arizona coming off their first loss against your 49ers, coming off a nice win. A nice win against a team that will remain nameless right now because we don't want to think about it. Cardinals and 49ers, did your team keep it going, or do the Cardinals get back on track?
I think that we beat them when they come up to the Bay Area. I think we're going to handle them. Absolutely. I think we get them this weekend. Yes, sir, we do. Our offense looks like it's getting better. Deebo Samuels is impossible, as you can see.
He looks phenomenal.
Great. Elijah Mitchell is running the football like no other. Jimmy G is upright, which is the most important thing, Tony. I've already said this to you in the past. 80% of our wins, we win 80% of our games when Jimmy G plays. So I think we beat them. I think we beat these dudes this weekend. We had Jimmy G against them when we played them in Arizona. So we got them this weekend. I think we beat them this weekend.
I want to pick the Cards. I do, just to be opposite. The problem is I think they do. I think the 49ers win too. I really do. Like in my heart, I think the 49ers win. I think the Cardinals are a better team. I feel like it's one of those, where every team kind of is adversity. This is their adversity, right? Lose to Packers, lose to the 49ers. Can they come back from it? I think this is so I got the 49ers too. I really want to pick the Cards though, but I am. All right. Titans. First game without Derrick Henry couldn't come at a worse time.
Could not come at a worse time.
Because they're playing the Rams.
Yeah, they're playing the Rams, and I think the Rams handled them. The 80% of their offense is already gone. So now they have to completely improvise. They don't have to improvise. They have to completely improvise. They got to switch their offense up completely. And I think that's going to be the downfall for them. And I think that the Rams, I'm not going to say blow them out, but I do think the Rams handle them.
When your team is based on a player, even more so than maybe a system, like it's not like you can plug in any running back. It's not like, the Broncos of old where you just threw in a running back and they rush for 1,000 yards. This was their offense was based on Derrick Henry, not a run kind of, not an offensive that you could plug in any running back. So you go up against the Rams without a running back or a running game that I don't think they're going to establish. Even if Adrian Peterson comes in, like he's not going to know the playbook. He's not going to know all those what they do. So now you're forced to pass, and Matthew Stafford is going to take deep shots. So that they're going to be moving forward. Right. So now Ryan Tannehill has to throw, and you're going to have Von Miller and Aaron Donald pinning their ears back, knowing that you're going to throw coming after you.
Drop 7 guys in coverage.
It might be ugly. It might be ugly.
Absolutely. Tone, right now, if you think about the NFL, what team has one guy that they rely on solely?
None. Baltimore.
And if Jackson goes down, what happens to them?
They're Jacksonville.
That's who I think they are. Absolutely. That's exactly who I think.
If they lose Jackson, they're Jacksonville.
That's exactly who they are.
All right. So so I think we're both clearly on the Rams. The Monday Nighter. We haven't had much success on Monday night either. I made fun of Kirk Cousins, but I will say this. It's rare that the Bears defense looks as bad as they looked last week against the 49ers, because without Matt Nagy, the offense looked good.
It did look good.
Justin Fields looked good, which proves my point again and again. However, this week they got the Steelers. I'm obviously nervous. I think the Steelers do the things that make the Bears' lives difficult offensively. I think the Steelers' defense is still maybe even underrated, but against a rookie quarterback, where again the play calling is suspect. Oh, Bears are still. I'm gonna leave it to you to just
the fact that Matt Nagy's back in the fold. You're gonna see how much different Justin Fields is in that offense. Just the fact that he's back in the fold, and I think that Pittsburgh will beat Chicago this weekend. On Monday, I think that they will beat them.
I'm not going to argue, but I'm going to disagree because I have to.
Of course.
And I think Matt Nagy, over his COVID stretch, this is what I'm hoping happened. I think I told you he wrote a book about setting your ego aside. He wrote the book. I hope you read it while he was sitting at home, and he realizes, hey, there's some things Justin Fields can do if we put him in a situation to succeed that can make him successful. I hope him and Allen Robinson went out and had a nice meal. Justin Fields, I'm talking about, and Allen Robinson, and said, hey, where do you like the ball? Well, I like it over here. Okay. Well, this is how I like to throw it. Okay. Well, where's the happy medium where I can throw you the ball the way I like and you can get the ball where you like? And I hope they had a real, if I may use a joke or a saying that we used to do when I was a kid, I hope they had a kumbaya moment and held hands and sang and it came together. And that's what I'm betting on. So I'm betting on that's what happened. And I hope that Sean, the defensive coordinator, went to his defense and just shook his head and said, I know we didn't have Khalil Mack, but you guys are better than that. Because they are better than what they showed. And I hope they take it. I hope they take it from another guy who played in Chicago, and they took it personal.
Yeah, you know how I feel about Roquan
right?
Smith. You already know.
Yeah, I hope Roquan Smith takes it personal and is like,
absolutely.
I'm going to take care of this. And I'm going to go with in a close one. I'm going to go with the Bears.
All right.
So that's it. So this time, you don't know this. I kind of know what our picks were, and I've looked through our picks every week, and I'm like, oh, we did pretty good. I wrote them down this week, and this week. So I'm going to actually look and see. I'm going to see how we did, because people are asking me. They're like, hey, I saw your picks. Hey, thanks for this one. You got it right. Like, I got a lot of pats on my back about the Green Bay Packers, right? Because they're like, man, you called it Dylan, Jones, even Randall Cobb. Like, that was amazing. I'm like, yeah, I got lucky. A broken clock is right twice a day, right?
Yes, it is.
So they were like, how are you guys doing in terms of your record? And I said, I have no idea. So I'm going to start tracking. Listen, we still got more than half the season left. So I'm going to start tracking it and see how we do. All right. So we got NFL edition, obviously, is this every Friday here on YouTube, on Chilltown Hoops, and on Sports Fluent. Wednesdays, you got the NBA edition of Fluent and Chill. And man, Monday's picking up some steam live on TikTok at 8 p.m. We try to take as many of your questions as we can. I know I was asked to try to make our answers a little bit shorter, because they said there's got so many questions you guys didn't get to.
Okay.
We're going to try to get to those questions too. And if you haven't seen, go check out TikTok. I'm not going to tell you. There's 2 really cool promotions. One where you can win $1,000. The other where I'm just giving away money. So go on TikTok and find out. I'll pin them. I know I finally figured out how to do that. I'll pin those promos up on the top. If you go to sports_fluent, you'll see those pinned on Friday. Chilltown Hoops. You're already following him. But until next week.
Take it light, but take it.